That's really funny.
So he's laughing at his
You
jokes.
you're upset because you were accused of being upset.
Yeah,
No,
because
I'm
I asked
upset.
him if he
I'm
was
upset
upset.
because I was accused of being upset.
Because I asked him.
No,
No,
because I was accused. Oh, you're upset. You're upset.
No,
You
I
always
said,
get upset.
are you upset?
You said now you're upset.
I
Oh,
said,
no.
No, I said your face looks like you're upset. That's why.
And
I
then you
think
walked
that.
away and was like, oh, now you're upset. So, da.
You said, now I'm upset. So,
Yeah, I get that. I get that part where I get what. Okay, now this is what what he got from you. Like when you said, now you're upset. It's like a statement
No,
rather than a
no,
question.
listen.
But in
He
your
said
mind,
that.
no, he actually heard you say, now you're upset. It's like somebody does something. My girlfriend used to do that. You know, like you say something and then I'm okay with it, whatever. But I don't kind of show anything, and then she looks at me like, because I didn't say anything or I didn't respond, and he says, oh, so now you're angry, and I'm like, I didn't say I was
He
angry.
said he was.
Even though I said I was, you still said, oh, so now you're going to be upset.
Because you said
Oh,
now I'm
wait.
upset.
But if
He
you
said,
said that
"Now I'm
if you said you're upset and then somebody says, oh, now you're upset, it's like confirming what you just said.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you said now I'm upset, and then the person asks you, oh, so you're upset, and then you say, oh no, you're accusing me of being upset, but you said you were upset, so it's not accusing you anymore, it's just affirming what you already said.
Boom.
You could affirm something all you want.
Boom.
but the fact that he's talking about it with you means he's not really upset. It's just like you're pushing it, you know. He's at that point where he's almost upset, but he's not upset, but you're just pushing him into the point where he's upset, you know, like like that point where but right now the fact that he's talking about it means he's not upset. He's just, and don't push it, you know. If you push it, it just moves over to the other side, you know.
Basic relationship.
Yeah, it's important to talk, but I must say this to you, lady man. Just as he's trying to talk to you, you must also listen to him. You know, that part where you assume that this is what he thinks. That's where the problem is sometimes, you know. So don't assume this is what he thinks. Just kind of ask him if you think it's an issue. Just go ahead and ask him. And guy, you must be able to say what you think and what you feel. Is that okay?
Bare minimum. If you don't have it, you cannot have a relationship. Right or wrong?
Wrong.
How?
And right.
I'm right.
You're wrong and you're right at
I'm
the
right.
same time.
You just
You
never
wanna know why?
want to agree with me.
I disagree with you.
How can somebody be right and wrong at the same time, bro?
Exactly.
Tell me.
Because you can be right or wrong. You can be right and wrong at the same time, just like anybody else can be right or wrong about the situation. Like she was like communication. She was like communication is always key. Communication is always key. But
yeah,
if you can communicate, you can communicate all you want. You see what I'm saying? But as long as long as you both have understanding, the communication could be there. But if the understanding is not there, then that's
But how would you understand if you're not communicating? What do you understand?
Exactly.
If you're or not. Even if you're communicating,
You're saying if you're not communicating, but
if you're not communicating, you're never gonna understand. But if you're communicating and you're still not understanding the person,
yes and no?
Because if you're communicating and you're still not understanding the person, like I'm saying, if you're talking and y'all communicating, but y'all both not being understanding, then that's what I consider being what you just said.
Yeah. So communication is you talking and she's listening. She's talking and you're listening. Like both of you are talking to each other and both of you are listening to yourselves, rather than both of you talking at the same time and trying to get both of you to listen at the same time.
The bare minimum bar would be less talking, less trying to get.
That doesn't make any sense.
The bare minimum is doing less.
No, bare minimum means the least you can do with still passing.
Yeah, but it's still
less than what?
The bare minimum is just like telling me, "Oh, I'm doing less of a good ass job." That's what it's saying.
It's saying that you.
No,
It's saying
no,
that,
no, no, no,
right?
no, no.
So,
The.
oh,
that's not what that means at all. It means you're doing a task or a job.
A job.
At the
At
bare
the bare
minimum.
minimum. Yeah, exactly, like I said, but it's not what you're saying is like it's not giving all my best is what.
I never said that.
But that's what it's leading to. That's what I'm saying.
Not necessarily. The bare minimum can be your best.
But
No. How can the bare minimum be your best? No.
That's what I said. That's what I just
said. See, if you can I say something, if you let me, both of you. If you say something, it's better to say something and not assume that he's saying something. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. So do not assume that he's actually or what the person is intending to say.
You understand him, but you couldn't understand me.
I
point.
I understand that, but I still think that the bare minimum can be a person's best.
Yes, which is the way. See, if you mean it that way, then you can actually say more. So that you clarify what, because that word can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. If I'm talking to my girlfriend and she says I'm okay, or fine. Fine doesn't necessarily mean fine. To me, it used to mean fine. Fine means that you're okay with it. You okay? Say yeah, fine. But to her, it means don't dare do it. You get what I'm saying? But she doesn't tell me in clear terms what she wants, and that's the problem. Ladies, learn to talk to us in literal terms rather than assume that we understand what you're trying to say because you are saying it in your mind, and it's like he should get what I'm trying to say. But we're not psychics, man. We understand what you're saying from what you said, literally what you said. Than you trying to assume that we know what you meant when you said what you said. But we don't do psychic stuff. So we don't understand that. So you need to say it literally. This is what I mean. If he's doing his best, say he's doing his best. If he's doing the barest minimum and you think that, oh, that's your best, then tell him that. Say it in clear terms rather than thinking he's going to assume what you mean from what you just said. You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Yes. I learned from what you guys just said, and it's really cool. I like the fact that you guys are able to communicate, and please, this is the best thing you guys can always do. Sit down and talk about stuff rather than just keep it in. It's good to always talk about stuff. Whatever it is that's happening with you guys, just talk about it. It's all cool. Someone may get angry, someone may get upset, but just talk about it.
He just said, if you get upset, talk about it. She doesn't like talking.
Yeah.
I do love talking. Every time I try to talk to you, you feel as if
you defeated us talking, but when you're raising your voice and not letting me speak, that doesn't count as talking.
Yeah, once you're throwing words that don't or is not of my name, for one, and for two, when you're oh no, if you're upset, when you get upset, you tend to turn. Or it doesn't even matter if I piss you off. It matters if I annoy you too. Because if I annoy you, then you'll turn around and be like, "Oh, I don't feel like talking," and you walk your ass out of the room. And then if I come right behind you, why are you following me? Or why are you talking? I don't want to talk to you. Da 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 da.
Okay.
Okay. Just like a man needs a minute to cool off, but if I'm willing enough to come talk to you, even though I'm pissed off, talk to you while I'm pissed off. Talk to you. You see what I'm saying?
But
so we can resolve the situation.
That obviously means that you're more calm than me.
Even if, okay, let me put it like this.
And you do control that
I'm not, it doesn't matter about you, me, or me being like you. It's the fact of the communication. Even though you're upset and I'm upset, I take the time to communicate before.
Or we could communicate.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? When you go communicate with her, like you're upset, both of you upset, and she walks out the room because she wants to calm down, and then you go communicate with her, do you actually go to confront or to just kind of explain? Like go to confront her? Because if you go to confront her, it's like throwing gasoline on fire. There are times. Let me tell you something. Yeah, there are times where there's a fire going on, and then you take water. Water. Yeah. If you turn water on fire, it's supposed to put it out. But there are times where you turn water on fire and it increases the fire. You know that, yeah? So if you go trying to confront her when she's really like trying to calm down, you're kind of turning water in fire, and that kind of increase you're trying to do, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to put it down. However, it's the wrong timing. And so you're going with that whole, you're upset because you're not understanding me. You're upset because you don't want to take what I'm saying. You're upset because, so you're trying to confront her. And when you're confronting her, she's trying to calm down, and she's trying to go away from whatever is causing or instigating her mood. And she's going away from it. And then you, on the other hand, you want to get this thing sorted. You don't want to go like, okay, you're pissed. I made you pissed. Yeah, I agree. Now I'm trying to explain to you because, hey, lady, there are times where you're upset because you really don't understand the true intention of what we meant by what we said. And so sometimes we're upset because we think that you should understand what I'm trying to say, man. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to insult you. I just said something that may have come out the wrong way. So I'm trying to correct what I said. And you're like, no, you just said it. You said it. You said it. This is what you said. And I'm saying, no, that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was this. So there are times where he's coming to you because he wants to tell you what he really means by what he said. But now you're pissed at that time because the words just came out so wrong. He knows that, or he eventually found out that, man, this thing came out wrong. So he's coming to you to try to say, hey, this is really what I meant. And if you understand what I meant, you wouldn't be this upset. But again, you don't want to hear that, So it's all the dynamics of, if you go with the intention, do you go with the intention? Now, this is my question. Do you go with the intention of confronting her, or go with the intention of trying to explain what just happened?
Both. It's like a confront and explain, but more so trying to explain.
Let me talk to her. What do you think? Does he come to you with the intention of confronting you? And do you think that there's this more aggression coming from what he's saying? Or you think that he's trying to explain, but it's coming at the wrong time? What do you think?
I think it's just more aggression because he needs a second to calm down too. He just won't give himself it.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that he can't be calm when he had upset you. So he's trying to get, the only way for him to be calm is for him to sort out what just happened. He just threw fire into the building. He needs to put it out. So he's trying to put it out. That's his own way of calming down. He cannot calm down when you're angry in the other room and he's angry doing something else. And no, he's not going to be calm. He needs to be sure that everybody is cool. So he comes to you with the intention of putting out the fire. So at that point in time, yeah.
He comes towards me with, like you said, aggression, or just like still angry, and like it blames me, not just like coming to talk.
So you saying that I blame you every time that I come to you?
No, sometimes yes.
That's what you say. That's what you say every time, though.
How?
Because you always say, "Oh, I'm always blaming you every time we get into a talk or a situation like that," and then you say, "Oh, I'm always making it seem like."
You're the bad girl. Yeah. I know that part.
And it's like, how?
But also, if I ask you anything, how you are, if you're okay or anything like that, it's like,
yeah, I'm fine. How? What?
Yeah.
You get mad. Make any assumptions.
The thing is, you shouldn't be making assumptions.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be making assumptions. If you're not clear on anything, just go ahead and ask.
No, but
now the problem is that she does the asking and then you don't answer. That's the thing. When she goes ahead and asks, do not begin. And this is one thing I had with a group of people that I talked with yesterday, and I said to them that there are times where a man, when a woman asks a man a question, the man begin to imagine, why is she asking this question? And rather than answer the question, they're figuring out, they spend a lot of time trying to figure out why she asking the question. And you don't answer the question by trying to figure out why. Just answer the question the way it should be answered. Don't think about why she asking the question, and then try to in turn give her the answer that she perhaps want to hear, because you try to figure out why she was asking the question. Now that's what comes into play. That's what I think comes into play when you go ask the question, and he's like,
because I'll come to you and ask you if you're okay,
and I'll be like,
that triggers you.
No, don't say it always triggers me. Come to me and say, "Are you okay?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and be like, "You don't look fine." And then I'm like,
well, because I'm double checking. I'm like,
hold on, lady. Let's listen to him now, and then go on. And then you say yes, and then she says you don't look fine.
She'll go, well, you don't look like you're fine. I'm like, well, I just told you I'm fine, and now you're saying I don't look like I'm fine. So like, what makes you think that I'm not looking like I'm fine? She goes, your face. I'm like, well, I have the same face every day, and it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, I may look like I'm down or something like that, but like, don't always assume that I'm just like upset or something like that. And like, normally you play on your phone, you look mutual as shit. I can assume anything. You're upset, you're annoyed, whatever. I ask you, I said, are you annoyed? And then I'll be like, are you sure? I don't ask you, or I don't tell you. I'll be like, I don't sit up here and say, oh, you're annoyed. You look annoyed. You just look annoyed. Whatever the case is, I may tell you. In certain cases, yes, but in certain cases that we sit down and you're just on your phone or whatever the case is, it's like, oh, well, okay. Well, if I ask you, are you okay? You'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be like, are you sure? You'd be like, yeah. Why? Why you asking? Nothing. Just make sure you're okay. Okay.
Okay.
And then I say okay, but you wouldn't do that.
Okay. So let me find out from you. You just saw the way the interaction went, yeah? So let me know what's on your mind, lady, when you ask a question. Hey, let's find out from her what she thinks when she asks that question. Like when she sees you, you're feeling you're not like lively, or you're on your phone and your face is showing, because women are more sensitive to the way we feel, and that's the way they're wired. They're caring people.
Okay, yeah. When we're let me put it like this. Yes, when we had already had a fucking serious conversation or a serious argument, and then you come back to me all giddy, and then think that cool after not talking about the situation. That may be the case.
When has that ever happened?
That's happened multiple times.
No, it has not.
It has.
It has not.
Okay.
So most of the time when a serious argument has happened, and then you go on your phone, and then she comes back to you and asks you if you're okay, and you say you're fine, and your face doesn't show that you're fine, because women can read that, that, yeah? Women can read your body language, so they know you're okay or you're fine. But the truth is, we cannot mask our feelings properly as men. We can do that outside with other people, but when you're with someone who really knows you in and out, it's difficult to mask the way you feel. So even if you say I'm fine, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. But there are times where the heart is feeling a different way, but the mouth just wanna, the moment you just want to be alone, you just don't want to talk about it, and then you shut out by saying I'm fine. So it's like you shutting her out to say you're fine, but your face doesn't say you're fine. So she goes ahead and asks again, are you sure? Because your face doesn't say it. And then you're like, why do you think so? And then at that point in time, you say your face, because you don't look it. And then at that point, you can actually reiterate and say, hey, I'm fine, rather than saying, oh, why are you assuming stuff? You know, like she just wants to know you're fine. So if you can confirm that, short words, you don't need to say too much. Just say, well, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm okay. I'm reading something serious here.
And like I said, even if I say that, sometimes she'll come back and be like, "Oh, well, you don't look like you're fine," even though I look like I'm fine.
Because I'm explaining to you why I would ask you. But because you don't look.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You don't look like it.
I can be playing my game. I can be playing my game.
But that shouldn't upset you. It should.
It might not be upsetting the way you're figuring it out, like the way you're thinking it's upsetting. It's like if I'm watching a football game, for instance, let me use myself as an example. I'm a football fan. If I'm watching a football game and we're losing the game, now I'm not going to be smiling for sure. And then she walks in and then she says, "What's happening?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay." And I'm apprehensive because of the game. You know, so yeah, it may be something he's doing on the phone, maybe the game he's playing on the phone that's making him upset. So it's if he says it's fine and you ask again and he reiterates that he's fine, then yeah, if you have something that you want to talk about, you just go ahead and say, okay, I hope it's not because of the stuff that you're angry or upset. You know, if there's something on your mind that you want to say, just spill it out rather than just like, okay, you know, that kind of thing. If you think that it's because of because there are times where you have an argument and then the argument ends with okay, fine, and then you say fine, and you go fine, and then you walk away. Well, you finished talking, everybody has aired their mind, and it looks like everything is okay because you've actually said what you need to say. However, there are certain things that doesn't go well. So the times where you come back and say, oh, I hope it's not because of what I said earlier. And you're like, no, I didn't say that because, listen, women, stop assuming stuff. If you have something you need to clarify, just ask the question straight up. Don't try to ask a different question because you want to get answer to another question. So you ask one question because you're trying to get answer to another question. The real question was, are you still upset with what I said a few hours ago? That's a real question. But you don't ask that question and then you come up and you say, are you okay? Same thing goes to the guy. You want to ask the lady, are you still upset with what I said? But instead of you asking her directly, are you upset with what I said? You say, are you okay? And then you're trying to get an answer for something that happened 2 hours ago, but you're not asking the right questions. And because you're not asking the right questions, you're not getting the right answers. Do you feel me? Exactly. So just go ahead and ask the question. Because sometimes you don't want to bring it up. Again, I know there's a reason why you don't want to ask a question, because asking the question is like bringing it up. Asking the question or trying to explain yourself is like bringing up an issue that you spent 2 hours just talking about. So I don't want to talk about that anymore. That's why I came here. I need my space. You know? But again, she's a human being. She wants to feel like, okay, we're done with that. Let's go on. Let's move on. But if there's an element of, like when you finish eating and then there's still some scrap of food on the table, and then you just see some prints of some of the things that just happened 2-3 hours ago. Now, the only way to get rid of that is to actually talk about it. Ask questions. Be real. That's the thing. Do not think that the other person is going to be upset if I ask direct questions. You can do that with outside people. You can do that with me. You don't know. But you can't do that with yourselves, because with yourselves, you can ask any fucking question to anybody, both of you, because you've got yourselves. Nobody else, just you, both of you. You've got each other. You've got your back. So if there's anything bothering you, you just go ahead and you just say it. It may annoy the other person. It's okay. We argue all the time. There is no relationship. Let me say this to you guys. There is no relationship that they don't argue. I'm a lawyer. And we usually would have a pre-action counseling for marital cases. And you know what I used to say? And this is real. I used to say to the couples, there is no relationship. If you see any relationship either on Instagram or social media and everybody and they're all looking all fine and cool and the pictures are all nice, or you see them on the road or see them in the shop and they're all looking lovey, The truth is, they argue as well. Every relationship argue. The couples argue. You know why? Because two of you are two different human beings and you grew up differently. You have your different sides and you're coming together and you're trying to see to mend these two different persona together. So that of course there's going to be time where you argue. It's okay. It's all right as long as you can sort it out. It is the sorting out that is the problem. If someone tells you, I've never argued with my boyfriend, tell the person, then you don't have a relationship. And that's the truth. He may be pretending to you and everything you do is fine. That's not a relationship. Every single thing you do is fine. You broke us out, it's fine. You spend a lot of money off his credit card, it's fine. Every little thing is fine. And you know, he always says fine to everything. That relationship is going to break up. They won't last. You know why? Because that's not how it is. That's just acting, man. In real relationships, you argue, you talk about it, but you don't fight. Okay, like when I mean physical fight, you just argue. Yeah, and ladies are, of course, you guys, you're professional in doing this. You argue over anything, little things, anything. So we have to come to terms with the fact that you ladies need clarity on a lot of things. That's the thing. Men can just move past some things because it really doesn't matter. The things that move guys are things that really carry weight, things that kind of affect things. You know, like if we don't deal with this, it's going to really affect us. There's certain things that we just let pass. You know, we let it pass because it bothered us at the time, but it was just at the time. And then after that, it's gone. We don't think about it anymore because it's just gone. And we go past it because it's something that did not really affect us, like the pillars. Now, for ladies, any small thing, no matter how tiny it is, matters to them. Anything. You get my point, yeah?
Yeah.
So just it's okay. That's what I'm trying to say in essence, that it's okay to fight. It's okay to argue. It's okay to express yourself that way. It's okay to do all of that. It's fine as long as you're able to sort it out. It's okay. It's cool. Now I want her to tell me what she thinks about it.
Oh, I've been I mean, yeah, I guess. But
exactly.
You've been making faces at me like I don't get over everything, but
you were just the
one who said that.
Assuming. That's assuming.
You turned around,
that's
looked
assuming.
at me in my face, and changed your facial expression. You did not purposely give me a face. What? That doesn't make any sense. Were you giving the wall faces? Were you making faces at the wall? Like what?
Okay.
Was it to me? Oh, because there's no one else here.
So I can't make faces without assuming that it's about something.
Who changes their face like that and doesn't mean something?
What do you mean?
But facial expressions are a sign of, or like a way of communication. So
okay,
yes.
My facial expression was just like, "You're listening? You're listening? Are you listening?"
No.
It's possible. He just told you what it means. He's the one that has. Is it your facial expression? No, it is his facial expression. Let him tell you what it means, man. Allow the man to tell you what it means.
Denying that you made it.
I didn't deny anything. I didn't deny that I made it. I'm asking, how did you assume that my facial expression meant that? I never denied anything.
Because you were like,
we can go back and record the whole thing. It's recorded. I told you. See, this is a whole recorded show that I can go back and replay and let you hear. Play my face. I can
But again, the facial expression thing, yeah. You seem to be doing a lot of facial expression, because a lot of the time, she reads your facial expression, and like for me, I grew up in a home where my mom does a lot of facial expression. She talks with her face. My mom doesn't talk. If you allow my mom to say something with her words, you get the whooping of your life, man. You need to be able to read her face to know exactly what she wants you to do. She wants you to get out of the room. She doesn't have to say it. She says it with her eyes. Get out. And you get out. If you wait for her to say it, you're in trouble. So people like me, I always read facial expressions. Even when I'm not at home, like if I'm with my girlfriend, I read her facial expression. If I'm with anybody, I read facial expression. If I'm talking on the phone, I look out for the intonation, and like how's she sounding, that would help me determine whether she's upset or not. So yeah, facial expression is key. Brother, you're doing a lot of facial expression, saying a lot of things that she doesn't understand what you're saying. So you better be upfront and tell her what you mean by what you just did, rather than just assuming. Yeah.
Literally, like I just told her friend.
You just denied the making it.
No, I didn't deny. I just literally said I didn't deny making it. Okay, fine. I did not deny making it. I just denied what you said. No, I denied the fact that of what you said is the reason why I made the face, and that was not the reason why I made the face. Okay. Why is it? I literally just told you. It was like, are you listening? Are you listening? Yeah. You still, yeah. Like I said, you don't hear me. You don't listen.
No, I do. I just said it. It just took me an extra second.
But still, though, look, you literally told me no. That's not what you were saying. How can you know that? You tell me all the time. I don't know what you're saying. So exactly. What I said, so it's always a no.
I have one question for her. Do you actually listen to him most times? Like, do you take time without saying anything? Like, you ask a question and you actually listen to his response without saying anything, without making any contribution or interrupting or anything? Do you do that? Or no, I should ask him. Does she do that? Does she listen to you? Do you think she does listen to you?
Oh no.
I interrupt. I'm listening, but I interrupt.
No. Let me put it like this. She listens, but it's a attentive listen. All right. So like she'll listen, and if I say key words that she doesn't like, she interrupts and put her two goes, know this, know that, know this, know that. And I'm like, I'm not battling you. I'm not battling you. Why are you battling me? And then she starts to battle, and then it's like, oh, now I'm battling her. You see what I'm saying? And it's reversed. And now I gotta sit here and try to explain myself the whole entire time. And with the whole entire time of me explaining myself, it's like I'm going in a bad fucking end because now I'm making her more upset because I'm trying to explain myself to an aggravated person.
Yeah, and the thing is, you were explaining. Now she was listening and interrupting. Now, the thing about interruption is, I do that too, and it's very bad. I know that it's bad, but sometimes I feel that urge to always say something or to explain myself, and then when I'm explaining myself and the person is not listening, it gets me upset. That's what gets me upset in an argument. If I'm arguing, my girlfriend accuses me of shoving my opinion down her throat sometimes. That's what she said, and I'm like, how? And then she said, oh no, when we're in an argument, you always like to shove you like to be right, you like to be the correct one, you like to ensure that I submit to whatever it is that you want to say. And then I said, no, I'm only just trying to explain myself, because I think that most times the reason there is this argument in the first place is because you do not understand why I did what I did or said what I said. Now allow me to explain it. Now while I'm explaining it, you owe me the duty to listen. The problem is that most times women don't listen. The same thing with guys. Sometimes guys don't listen, or you listen to reply. Do you know that kind of listening, when you're listening to reply? You're not listening to understand, but you're listening so you can find something to say, so that you can reply to what he just said. And that is where the problem is. So you're listening because you want to reply, you want to say something, and that's why you interrupt.
So he's literally saying the same thing I say about myself, though. But I'm telling you that he's literally saying the stuff that I tell you when I'm sitting here having a conversation and I'm talking to you. I'm just trying to talk to you. He's literally saying the same thing I talk to you about. And
so it's
sense. This is why I'm doing this, because
this is why I ask you if you're speaking English sometimes.
This is why I'm doing expression right now, because it's like everything he's saying is coming to light right now, and it's exactly what I've been saying for the past few months that I've been with you.
If that's what you've been trying to say, that's why I'm like, bro.
Okay.
Because
so
you don't take the time to understand. Exactly. So you don't take the time.
All right. So let's look at it from the other perspective. You see, that's the thing. If he is taking time to to explain to you. Now, one thing I must commend you, brother. Because you know why? Because you talk. Some guys don't talk. Some guys
That's
just
guys don't talk.
Guys don't express themselves. So when you see a guy who is expressing himself and talking to you, you just owe him that duty to just listen to him, because the brother's talking. If he's talking, you listen. If you are talking, he should listen too. So it's a two-way thing. Do not say, oh, she has to listen to me, and then you don't listen to her. So it's a two-way thing. If she listens to you, then you should listen to her. But she's not going to listen to you, lady, when you do not allow him to finish expressing himself. When you keep jumping in every single minute, he says one thing and you're like, and you pick on one word. That's another thing ladies do. You pick one word and make a big issue out of one word, and we leave the issue on ground, and then we start talking about that one word that I said, which was way outside what the issue is. Why don't we deal with the issue that brought the argument in the first place? I'm trying to explain myself, and I use a phrase, and then you focus on that phrase, and then you begin to remind me of all the things I've done, all the other times I've said that phrase, and blah 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 blah, and then it becomes an issue. So let me ask her, do you think he listens to you when you talk?
Yes, most of the time, but it doesn't always understand. A lot of
do you make effort to make him understand?
I feel like I go through and try and say it in all the different ways I could possibly think of, but then he still is lost. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do, because I don't know how else to say it. And then he gets upset.
Because you're not expressing the real feelings that you feel about me. I want you to tell me how you actually feel, because I tell you how I actually feel about you.
But that's
when I sit here, when I tell you I'm upset, I'm angry with you, and I tell you all the time, I don't sugarcoat anything with you. I say I'm angry with you right on the spot, and I be like, I'm not sitting up here going through this bullshit. I'm not about to sit up here and go through arguments or whatever the case is. And I tell you the reason why I'm angry with you. That's what I want you to do. Not sit up here and go around the case of why you're upset. Because if you go around the case of why you're upset, then we'll never solve anything, right?
Well,
true. Very true.
Even if you don't realize you're doing it, and I'm trying to explain to you that you're doing that, you attentively get mad at me or
because
annoyed.
I don't believe that.
Exactly, because you're not believing it. How can I not get mad at something that you don't believe? If that makes no sense. Do you hear that? Like you can't just sit up here and you can't just sit up here and not expect me to get mad at something that you don't believe in when I'm explaining. That makes no sense. Because if I'm explaining to you, you should be able to understand it. Or ask me, well, help me understand. You see what I'm saying? Most of the time you do. Most of the time you just don't say anything.
No, but most of the time I do.
But most of the time you don't say anything.
How can I most of the time do, but also most of the time don't?
Because sometimes you think you do, but sometimes you don't. And it's like a half and half thing. So it can be half and half because you're a half and half person.
Okay, so you're giving me a 50%.
On that, yeah.
that's not very bad though. That's cool. 50% is a pass.
Exactly. At least it's not like a 25%.
Yeah, that's a pass. But you can be better though. But it's okay.
But even I said, even with that, like like it just takes time. Like you just gotta take your time out and just express yourself. Like when I express myself the way I express myself, I expect you to express yourself the way I express myself because I'm not.
Why? I'm not you. I don't express myself.
But you're in a relationship. But you're in a relationship with me and me. And you
I didn't say I wouldn't express myself. I'm gonna do it my way.
I never said you wouldn't. What I'm saying is, me and you are always in a relationship together. So me and you always here 24/7 together.
I know it's so annoying.
So it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be so hard to talk to me as much as I talk to you. You see what I'm saying?
Because no, but you feel like you feel these ways, and I don't know how to get you to not because I'm like
it's not. It's not me feeling. Like, it's not me feeling a certain way. It's just
yeah,
me,
it is. Like you feel like I don't spend time with you, or like I don't talk to you and stuff like that. And I'm like, we live together, and I.
Yeah, it's like, just me. Like what? It's just me noticing stuff.
But we're together all the time, and we hang out. It's not like we're just together. We're hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this.
Yeah, we're doing this. Right
Can I cut in at this point and say that? He's saying that both of you are always together. It's cool, but when you have something that you need to say, he wants you to say it expressly. He wants you to, if you have issues, if you have anything at all, and you think that you want to talk about it with him, he's open to always listening to what it is you want to say. He just wants you to come out and just say it, rather than assume that he knows or he would notice what it is that's happening with you. Does that make some sense?
Yeah, but I
want to ask your permission to play the messages that are on. Is that okay?
Wait, say that again.
I want to ask your permission to play some messages. There are some people that want to say something. Do you want to?
Go ahead. Yeah,
thank you. All right.
What's up, you guys? What's up, Z? What's up, GB3? Hey, but nah, as a matter of fact, what's funny, I got a homeboy, right, that's like that. Like, just for the sake of arguing, or just for the sake of him not wanting to lose an argument, he would tend to rebuttal before I could even fully explain what I'm trying to say to the kid for him to understand what's the situation at hand. And he would tend to say certain things after you beat him on one part of the argument and then flip the whole argument to a different discussion when we never finished the primary thing that we was like actually arguing about. You feel me? And it's only because he's trying to find a way to make himself sound right, although he's not. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel that, and that's what we're talking about. Listening to reply, listening to respond. If you're listening to respond, then you never get the other person to fully express himself and say what he wants to say, because you wouldn't even be able to understand him. That actually disturbs understanding, your ability to understand the person. So the person is talking, but you don't understand what he's saying because you were listening to respond. You were listening so you could get something to say. That's the rebuttal part of it. So when you're listening to respond, you end up not understanding the person. What do you think?
Agree. Yeah.
That's essentially that.
So the best way. Thank you for that input. But the best way, and I think that's for me. It's a difficult thing for me, so I know how hard it is to listen to someone and not say anything. It's a difficult thing, but it's something I'm learning to do, and it's something that if you learn to do, it would help too, because I talk a lot. I'm a lawyer, so I tend to argue a lot, because I argue for a living. However, I always say to myself, shut up and just listen. I tell myself why the argument is going on, and then she says something that's not right, and I want to say, hey, that's not right. That's not right. But I keep telling myself, shut up. You'd have your time to speak, and then you just keep quiet, and then he keeps talking and talking and talking, and he says another thing that's not right, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I want to say that. Yeah. I want to like scream at the top of my voice and say, I didn't say that. But I just let him say what he wants to say, because if I interrupt him, he's not going to be able to let out what's inside of him, in his heart, right there. And let's listen. Let's listen to some of these messages.
You're right, MZ. God himself, the creator, gave you 2 ears to listen twice as much as you talk. You're right. Common sense says that.
Facts. Facts.
You are a very wise man, MZ.
Yes, sir, he is. I appreciate him for real.
Thank you very much, people. Thank you so much. But I think that's, from my own experience, I think that that's something that just helps me. It helps me, and it can help anyone. And I think it's very good that men talk about. I am writing a book at the moment. It's called Tell Her About Us. And the reason I wrote that book was because I found that a lot of men, you actually go through a lot of stuff. You know, obviously, men are a product of their experiences. Every man you see is a product of his experiences, what he's been through. And so sometimes before he met you, he'd been through a lot of stuff. And sometimes he's just there trying as much as possible to kind of readjust his life to meet his present situation. And it's not always easy for him. This woman with respect. And I said, this is because of what he's been through in his life. So he, rather than try to keep it under wraps and just deal with your emotions, it's important that you have a conversation with this woman and tell the woman what life has been for you. That way she's able to understand you and understand why you do the things that you do. Because if ladies understand why we do the things that we do, it's easier for them to kind of grasp some of the things that we say, you know? And you're lucky you have a man who's always open to talking about stuff, and that's really good. I must commend both of you for that. You know, like you're able and willing to talk about stuff.
Yes.
And also it's something called like acknowledging your problem, I guess, right? So me, I'm kind of stubborn, right? Like, right? But some people, they're oblivious. Like my homie, he's oblivious. Sometimes, just for the sake of argument, like I said, he would say things without even realizing due to the heat of the moment. And he didn't even really meant what he was saying. You feel me? And then afterwards, after he done blacking out, he'll be like, yo, kid. After like days though, he'll be like, yo, kid, yo, my fault. I ain't know what I was saying. And it's like, as a recurring thing. And it's like, bro, if you just take the time to calm down and listen and don't try to rebuttal everything, bro, we would get to the end of everything if you just acknowledge what is at hand, and then we move forward to, you feel me, to better thing, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to say something?
Me personally, I mean, yeah, I mean that makes sense. That does make sense, but I mean, I don't know how to really touch on that, because I mean I can touch on that a little bit more for him, but I don't really know how to really touch on that for real at the moment.
All right. I want to ask her. I'm very curious. Do you think there's something that he can do more to make it easier for you to communicate how you really feel? Do you think that he can do much more, or there's something that he needs to do that would help that communication flow? What do you think? I'm asking her.
That's all I was saying. I don't really think I can really say too much, because, like, I mean, I would have to, like, me personally, because I go based off personality, stuff like that, and like I don't judge people by the book or the cover. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the case is about.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, but.
Yeah. But and that's a good way. That's a very good way. That's a very good way to go about it. Very good. Very good way. All right. I'm going to wrap it off here. And I think that it's been amazing talking to both of you. I really I'm going to follow you because you actually, you're one guy that I would want to say, hey, guy, be like this guy, because he talks to his girlfriend and he's always talking. So I'm going to expressing himself to his girlfriend and allowing the girlfriend to actually say, hey, come talk to me. That's a bold thing, and I like that. It's something I commend, and it's something I want to tell every guy. Every guy should do that. Kind of open your heart to communication. Open yourself to the possibilities of communicating anytime. It's not only when you have problems. It's not only when you have issues. You should be open to communicating with her on anything, and do not assume. That's the thing. Do not assume. Always open yourself up to the possibilities. If there's a problem, talk about it. If there's an issue, talk about it. If there's something that you don't like, talk about it. And that's key. It's very key. But before we go, I want both of you to advise couples, like people who are together and boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but you're in a relationship. What do you think from your own experience? Because you guys seem to love yourself a lot, and that's really cool. I really like that. What would you advise me? And just in case, for me, my girlfriend, what would you advise that other guy listening and the others listening? What would you advise them to do in case of conflicts? And from your own personal experience, what would you think is a good thing to do? Like, talk to us, because you guys seem to be in the flow, so.
I mean, yeah, always make sure both people feel like it's resolved, but also, like, me personally, the way we go about things is, like, me and her tend to, like, if we get, like, furious with each other, we'll walk off from each other sometimes and follow each other. Besides, don't do that. Like, don't don't go and follow each other sometimes. It may not be the best case. It may just make it worse. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be. Just know when it's the right time. But
cool.
Other than that, just make sure that you and your partner have a good understanding, and afterwards, like after y'all talk, just like we kind of like play around, like we both make sure we both say sorry, like we don't just sit up here and make both of our moves just change at right there that minute. Like we don't keep saying.
Cool. I like that.
And always make sure that your queen is always straight before yourself too, because sometimes men can hold more stress than women. Sometimes women can always have stress over something and don't always show it, or they can be stressing over something that may be irritating or aggravating them. Like sometimes I see that with my girlfriend, and I'd be trying to get up out of her, but like it's like kind of hard for some females and some women to talk about, because it's like it's not what they really want to talk about. It's something, I guess it's something that they take personally with other females that they want to talk to other females about. You see what I'm saying? Because they feel as if man can't relate all the time. So sometimes it's best to just leave them alone and let them kind of like burst off for a minute, because they'll come back and then they'll explain why they did that and why they were the way they were sometimes too. You see what I'm saying? So kind of let them out into an argument, just kind of let them get space sometimes. If that's not the case, then just talk about it. Talk about it is always always best to communicate, and like, you feel me, and it's best to like be understanding with the other party.
That's the one that's the one thing that tricked me today. That's the one. In fact, yesterday, why I'm saying this is why I'm so impressed is because yesterday I had a talk show with a couple of a guy and another lady, and they were so adamant that men don't talk. Like men, they've never seen a man that is willing to open up and talk about. And here am I talking to someone who loves to talk and loves to, to talk about stuff. And that's really impressive for me. I think that's the best thing ever, watching you guys talk about stuff. and watching the other lady admitting that, yeah, it's one difficult thing to admit that the other person is right or wrong or something like that. So I see both of you saying, oh, okay, yeah, that's okay, that's true, but it's not true, but that's true, that kind of thing. So the whole understanding, and the fact that both of you can understand yourself to understand, to get the point where you're correct and where you're not correct, where you're right, where you're not right, where you're wrong, and when you're not wrong, and that's really good. That's really good. And I want to commend both of you. It's an example that I want to follow. It's an example that I want everybody else to follow, and try to see how you guys can, whenever there's an issue, like you said, just resolve it, just talk about it. Always have the rather than talk to your friends about, that's another thing. I don't know if you have the time, but one day we're going to kind of have this conversation again, I hope, and we can actually talk about moments where you feel like you want to talk to your friends rather than talk to your spouse about what's going on with you. Do you feel that sometimes? I don't know. I just feel I should ask that. Do you feel like you want to talk to your friend about it rather than talk to him about it or her about it? Does it happen?
Not really. It doesn't really. I mean, for the most part, I wouldn't.
Cool.
I wouldn't think it really happens all the time. Nah. So, nah.
Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This is lovely. You guys have been amazing, and I hope that you guys would keep being amazing as you are. And I hope that we get to talk about other stuff some other day, where we'll meet up again and just have this lovely conversation. And then